Hello my dudes, what is good? Today I'm finally sharing with you my financial aid packages. To me this feels like old news now, but I did want to tell you all in depth the offers that I was given, just in case it helps anybody get a little bit of perspective maybe regarding these specific schools and my level of financial need. For some of you this may be completely irrelevant information, but maybe it'll be somewhat interesting. Obviously the financial aid process can be very complicated and confusing, and no matter how much information schools tend to give about the scholarships and grants that they offer, it can still be a bit of a surprise when you get your package. Even if you use like a net price calculator, that's just an estimate. So as I've obviously mentioned in previous videos, it turns out all the schools I applied to this year were not very affordable for me, and a lot of people were like, how unaffordable? Let me tell you. By the way, this video is brought to you by Skillshare. We will be talking more about that at the end of the video. For the ease of this video, I'm kind of rounding a lot of these numbers out, so it's not going to be exact to the dollar, but it's very close. Let's jump right in to LMU. This is for communication studies. So tuition at LMU for the next year is $48,000. I was given about $32,000 in scholarships and grants, which didn't include a Cal Grant. I did get a Cal Grant for Chapman, so I don't know if that was just some kind of a glitch, but the Cal Grant should have given me a decent amount more funding. They recommended $6,500 in federal loans and then a $3,000 LMU loan, which would have left me with another $6,600 to come up with. So the way I'm describing this may be a little bit confusing, but if you consider like the total grant aid, which is scholarships and grants given to me for free, not expected to be repaid, and then look at my loans, which I would be eligible to take out, because there is a max amount of loans that an undergrad student and other students can take out each year. And then a lot of schools will recommend Parent Plus loans, but for my situation, I've already taken out a number of Parent Plus loans under my parents' credit, and I don't want to continue doing that, so that's not an option in my mind. Basically, if I could take out any amount of loans I wanted, attending LMU would cost me about $16,000 per year. By the way, there's cheering and stuff going on because we're at camp. Next up, Chapman Communication Studies. Chapman's tuition is about $53,000 per year. They gave me about $32,000 in scholarships and grants, and then they recommended $5,500 in loans, but that leaves me with a remaining balance to come up with of a little over $15,000. So if I were to just go crazy with the loans and either get Parent Plus loans or private loans, assuming that I would even be approved for all of these, I would have to take out about $21,000 in loans each year. By the way, forgot to mention my financial situation. When I started college a few years back, my FAFSA EFC was 0, which means I was at the highest level of need. Now my EFC is about 3,000, which roughly means that the government or the school expects you and your family to pay that amount. Estimated family contribution. So $3,000, that could be manageable for me throughout the school year, but my parents do not pay for my college. I wouldn't ask them to. Some people asked why. You know, it's just affordability, you know? My parents have 4 kids. I would just prefer to be independent throughout this process. On the FAFSA, because I'm under 25, I think, I'm still considered financially dependent. But in life, you know, I pay for all of my own things. I do my taxes separately. So there you go. All right, let's go to New York schools. For PACE, I had communication studies. Their tuition is $45,000. I was offered $14,000 in scholarships, a Pell Grant of $2,570, and then they were recommending $6,500 per year in personal loans, federal loans for me, which would leave me with $22,000 more to come up with. So if I were to just magically take all of that out in loans every year, that would be about $28,000 or $29,000 in loans per year. Again, I have 2 more years of college to finish, so when you're thinking, if you're trying to imagine my college budget, it's not just affording the cost of 1 year, I have to finish 2 years. And that's assuming that enough of my credits were accepted over so that I'd start at junior level. Anyway, obviously it was not fun to be getting a financial package like that. When I opened PACE, I was like, I think they recommended the extra $22,000 in Parent Plus loans, and I was like, that's Nice try. But also I guess I played myself for applying to a school that expensive. I get it. I accept responsibility. Next up is Marymount Manhattan College. Let's try that again. Marymount Manhattan College. Their tuition is about $34,000 per year. They offered about $20,000 in scholarships and grants. They recommended $5,500 in federal loans for me, and that leaves me with a remaining balance of $8,600. So that would cost me about $14,000 if I were to take all of that out in loans every year. And again, I forgot to mention, this is only for the cost of tuition, people. Cost of living in LA or in New York City, any of these places, is obviously a huge other expense, which definitely restricts my ability to, say, contribute that $3,000 a year to tuition. $3,000 a year doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're trying to, again, pay for very expensive rent and other necessities, I just didn't think it would be possible for me to come up with those amounts of money. And by the way, this is all assuming that I would be living off campus and I would be trying to find, you know, the cheapest living situation possible. But in case you live in New York or LA, you know, even renting half a room can be very, very expensive. Next up, I have the new school, but I cannot for the life of me find their financial aid package. I don't know if they sent it to me in the mail. I remember getting it at some point, but I can't find it online, and I just know it wasn't affordable. It was in the ballpark of all these other schools. So next up is Fordham. Their tuition is $48,000. They gave me a Pell Grant, a Fordham Loyola Grant, and a need-based grant, which altogether comes to about $30,000. And then they offered me $5,500 in loans, which still leaves a gap of about $13,000. So total, it would cost me $18,500 each year in loans, just for tuition. Next up, St. Joseph's College, same thing. I know I have the paper somewhere, but since I moved to camp, I have no idea where it is now. St. Joseph's actually, I don't think it was too bad, but it was still out of my reach. What I consider to be within reach is if I can pay for the tuition with gift aid plus my maximum amount of personal loans. So each year I would be willing and able to take out about $6,500 in loans. Anything over that, if it's within maybe a few thousand, I could stretch it and figure out a way to find that extra money. But if it's an extra $5,000 or $10,000, I'm not going to take out $15,000 in loans every year. Do you get what I'm saying? St. Francis College, their tuition, I actually applied to St. Joseph and St. Francis a little bit later than the other schools, specifically because I was looking for more affordable options in the New York City area. So St. Francis is a small school in Brooklyn, and their tuition is only $26,000, and they actually gave me the full award, $5,000 of which was in loans. So actually, I guess I kind of clickbaited you guys in saying that I couldn't afford any of the colleges, because technically I could afford to go to St. Francis. Like I said, I'd be willing to take out up to $6,000 in loans, so their financial aid package would have been sufficient for me. Of course, I would still have to be able to afford the cost of living for New York, so I'd have to crunch the numbers on that. But obviously in my life situation right now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be living in New York or not. And even then, taking out $5,000 a year in loans, you know, adding another $10,000 to my current balance to be able to complete my degree is still a pretty big move. $5,000 may seem like a big or small amount to you, but it's not something that I want to take lightly. So if I were to take out loans, which I'm sure I'll have to wherever I end up going, I just want to make sure I'm 100% happy with that school and happy with that program, because I don't know. Anyway, shouts out St. Francis. If you guys are looking for an affordable college in the Brooklyn area, they came through. And drum roll, please. New York University, baby. My surprise acceptance. Alright, I'm gonna give you details here. Let's say roughly the cost of their tuition each year is $50,000. I'm not sure the exact number, but keep that in mind. They gave me a Steinhardt scholarship for $7,000. And then they gave me my Pell Grant of $27.45. They were offering $3,000 in work study, which I don't know if I would take because I'd probably just be working off campus, but whatever. A $4,500 subsidized loan, a $2,000 unsubsidized loan, and then they recommended $55,000 a year in Parent Plus loans. So that totals like $75,000, which is not the amount that I would take out. Basically, tuition costs $50,000 per year. They gave me about $10,000 in grant aid, so that's about $40,000 each year that I'd have to come up with or take out in loans just for tuition. And then there's the cost of living in New York City. So, needless to say, it was a very easy decision to decline. Hey, what's up? I forgot my international schools. Duh. So first we have Richmond, the American University in London. This is my package. And then we had the American University of Paris. This is it. There you go. Anyway, again, the purpose of this video was not to complain or to be upset. I just wanted to share because I think it's interesting, and I think the more information that is out there helps other people when they're going through their own college journey. So maybe you're in a similar situation if you're a low-income student, as I am considered in the federal financial aid system. Just keep these things in mind. And by the way, state schools, your in-state public schools are usually the most affordable bet, so definitely look into those, especially if you are more low income. Of course, my school journey will continue. I'll keep you guys updated a little bit, but thank you guys for watching. Now we're getting into the portion of the video where I shout out my faves, Skillshare. I have worked with Skillshare in the past, so I'm excited to be able to get back together, to reunite. This video might have scared you away from college, but that doesn't mean you can't still learn, people. Thanks to Skillshare, which is an online learning community, you can learn just about any skill that you want, whether it's a hobby or business. They've got video lessons on everything from film production to finance to web development and crafts and culinary classes. Skillshare is more affordable than most learning platforms out there, and especially more affordable than college. Their annual subscription is less than $10 a month for unlimited access to high-quality classes from experts working in their fields. This is one of many classes I'm interested in. It's called Monetization for Bloggers. In case you guys don't know, I am actually in the process of starting a blog. It is going to be a vegan food-related blog, so I definitely have a lot to learn, and it is so awesome to be able to use a resource like this and learn so much valuable information. They are so kind. They have given you guys the option to get a 2-month free trial for the first 500 people who click the link in the description. So run, do not walk, and check out Skillshare today. Also, I'm sorry for my list, but I just put in new retainers today. Once again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. Please leave any of your financial aid tips or information or experiences down below, and I will try to post another video very soon. Okay, thanks, bye!